All right, as you can see, I'm delighted to be joined by Leinster's Devin Toner. He's been speaking at the launch of Leinster's next big dish with official food delivery partners Just Eat. Devin, how are you getting on?
Yeah, doing well. Enjoying the sunshine today.
What is the go-to on Just Eat when you go on? What's your go-to order?
Go to on the order. Oh, what is it? If I'm feeling bad for myself, I'd probably go for a pizza. But if I want to get healthy, I'd probably get something from Mao. Get the three protein bowl.
How often do you go for the unhealthy option of those two?
Oh, it's probably gotten more frequent over the last couple of weeks. I know. I honestly, probably not as much as I've already used to. Because obviously myself and Mrs. kind of do a good bit of cooking at home, like so. Not too much.
That is a big factor of your life that a lot of people maybe aren't aware of. I'm sure there are tons of people who are aware of us, the cooking you do at home. That was that a lockdown thing, Devin, if I recall correctly, that you started to publicize it more, or was it always an interest?
No, like it was always an interest, but I kind of publicized it a bit more over lockdown just because I was bored and kind of needed to do something. And I kind of I got into the sourdough bread and I kind of ended up putting up them videos and people liked them, so I kind of kept on going. And it's something it's something that you're very proud of if you put a lot of time and effort into it, and it actually comes out well. You kind of want to show it off as well. So it went all right.
100%. It's also semi-therapeutic as well, I'd imagine, after you come home from training, rather than, I don't know, watching Netflix or looking at a screen or something like that. Actually being in the kitchen, I think a lot of people find is actually a really, really good way of ticking off the brain for a bit.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it is really good. The only challenges are actually trying to video it as well. Trying to do stuff one-handed and one hand on the phone, like so.
That's the next step now, post-retirement. Get good at the mobile journalism and get your own kit set up and all
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Have to get the tripod set up.
Who else in the Leinster dressing room is big into that sort of stuff? Because I know Keane Healy, and not so much the bread as far as I'm aware, but certainly when
Yeah,
it comes to his
no.
meats,
Keane will be big into his barbecues,
yeah.
so his smoking meats and his outdoor stuff. Reese Ruddock would be big into it as well. Me and him would kind of chat through cooking quite a bit. Other than that, I think who else? I think Max Deegan likes watching a lot of cooking videos. Whether he does a lot of himself, I don't know, but I think he likes it himself. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a dark horse, so he'll take up the mantle when you've left.
absolutely.
Can I just ask about the last couple of weeks, Devin? From a spectator's point of view, the double headers have been really interesting. I think that actually there was a lot of skepticism beforehand about whether or not they were going to work in the round of 16. There was a lot of ties, particularly when it came to Ulster and Munster and that Harlequins match as well, which was just absolutely unbelievable. Your time may be less dramatic when you get into the late stages of it, but what was it like as a player in it and getting to know the peaks and troughs of this over, what was it, 160 minutes of rugby?
Yeah, no, it was interesting. It was very cliche, but we were kind of told one game at a time. Do you know what I mean? And literally next game starting back at zero. Do you know what I mean? So it's obviously ours wasn't as an exciting a scoreline as all the rest of them, as you say. But I think to get the 6 point cushion in the first game, it was nice to have that cushion going into the second game as well. And because we were home in the second game, obviously we're very confident in ourselves of how we play in the Viva and how we play at home as well. So we're always confident going to every game, but to have that 6 point cushion is good as well. And I was kind of on the bench as well, so we were kind of saying, "Oh, okay, we're 10 up now. Okay, so we're 16 up now." So we're kind of, because in your head, I'm kind of thinking on the bench of what the score will be when I'm going on, and you kind of need to think about them things as well a bit more. So it's strange enough, but I liked it.
Do you find you're coming away from games when you're sitting on the bench with a greater understanding of what's actually happened in the match as opposed to being in the thick of it?
Yes and no. I think a lot of times when you're on the bench, you can't really see what's happening because
Yeah.
because the seats are so bad. You can't, because I'm trying to look at lineouts. I'm trying to look at how they're defending and what lineouts we've used. And I'm not looking at the game. I'm looking up at the big screen, and then the big screen's not showing the lineout, so it's hard to see. So it's as I said, it's hard to get a good look when you're actually on the bench. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Obviously, your coach is upstairs. So are they telling you more almost than you actually know before you go into there about
Yeah.
actually how things are going set piece wise?
Pretty much, like, yeah, like now and again it's happened, like you kind of with mainly with Ireland games, a couple of Leinster games where you'd go in and kind of our video analysts would come in with the laptop and show you actually videos of and clips of how they're dealing up, and or are they doing it different of what we prepared for, I suppose. But yeah, no, that's how it goes.
How have things changed for you since you've actually announced your retirement? Because on one hand, you think, right, the end of the career is in sight, but the other side of things, I presume there's a massive determination to make sure that those last few months are unbelievably successful and you get the very most out of it.
Yeah, there is. Nothing's probably changed since I announced, because I've pretty much known it was my last year, probably before Christmas. You know what I mean? So it's nothing's really changed mentally, but like I'm very much in the fact that I know that no one really gets the fairy tale ending. Very, very few players get fairy tale endings, and I very much know that there's a huge amount of competition for second row in the Leinster squad at the minute. I think when you look at, you got James Ryan come back from injury, you've got Ryan Baird come back from injury, you've got Ross Maloney playing the best rugby of his life, you've got Josh Murphy who's playing very well, you've got young lads like Joe McCarthy coming through who was ripping up trees. You know what I mean? So I very much know there's a lot of competition, and the only games left are going to be quality or high quality knockout games. So whether I will be involved or not, I don't know. So I will obviously, I'm going to do my best to show that I still have it and I still want to be involved and I still want to play those games. So whether I will or I won't, it's hard. But and again, it's hard not knowing what will be your last game. Do you mean I might have played my last game already? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So it's something, one of the things you have to get your head around anyway.
When you mentioned the fairy tale ending there, it's such a brutal sport, and maybe even a fairy tale ending is just being able to retire on your own terms, actually announcing before the end of the season that I'm going to stop playing and stopping to play when that moment is. Because obviously we've seen it with Dan Levy recently, just such a heartbreaking end to what was an absolutely fantastic short career. I guess there are no fairy tales in this sport, which doesn't take any prisoners, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you look at Dan and you look at his what could have been, you know, and I think I just realized that how lucky I am to get to where I am, to get to 36 in June, and I'm at a place where I'm retiring with a very healthy body. I think a lot of lads, when they retire, they have the kind of their tick list of what they need, what the surgeries they need to get, and I'm at a place where I don't need to get any, which is right. It's pretty special, and it's rare when it comes to professional rugby players as well. So I very much know how lucky I am.
Is it just luck, Devin, or are there things that you've done throughout your career to try and create greater chances for yourself?
I don't know. People have asked me that before, and
right.
I really don't know. It could be luck. It could be that I'm very slow and I don't run very fast. I don't know, to be honest. Yeah.
What is the one thing you're most looking forward to after stepping away and not having to go to training every morning?
I'm looking forward to getting my weekends back, being able to plan, being able to book a holiday. Like I think I've got Centre Parks booked for the family for Halloween, which is good to be able to book already. So it's being able to plan a bit more and not have the uncertainty around weekends and plans of what we're going to do. I'm just looking forward to giving back time to the family as well.
Because I've seen you speak over the last couple of months as well that, I mean, you want to complete your studies in financial advice, that you've got no interest really, for the time being anyway, in pursuing a career in coaching. Is that still the case? Has that started to germinate a little bit more in your head, the idea of a post-rugby career in rugby?
Yeah, not professionally anyway. I think I've said, like, I've never really thought about getting into coaching, and whether something crops up somewhere, I don't know. But I'm still for the moment saying that it's probably not going to happen. And as I said, one of the things I'm most looking forward to is getting back my weekends. And if you're coaching, you're doing a couple of nights a week. Your weekends are gone, and there's your planning gone out the window. Do you know what I mean? So for the time being, for the next at least year, I'm going to sit back and kind of enjoy it and enjoy not being involved, I suppose.
In many ways, I guess the life of a coach is almost more taxing than a player if you're talking about free time.
It absolutely is. You see the lads, and they're first in the door and they're last out the door. They're always doing video, they're always doing analysis there, and they have to go to every game. Like if you're a player, you're not picked for some game, you get a weekend off. Players or coaches have to go to every single game, and they're always on, you know. So it's a tough life.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess it's probably a question that you're bombarded with, not least because of the position that you're in, and maybe people are seeing Paul O'Connell kind of really starting to spread his wings in the Ireland setup recently, and people maybe think that players in that position just make good coaches. I'm not sure is there any truth in that, or what your kind of take is on that, because I guess you are, as you say, reading the set piece quite a bit. You have to read the game very, very well at certain times.
I think certain players make good coaches. I think
right.
Some have it, some don't. I am looking at myself thinking whether I have it. I don't have it like Paulie has it. Do you know what I mean? Or Leo. Do you know what I mean? They have it because they were pretty much coaches when they played anyway. Do you know what I mean? Paulie ran the line out in Ireland for years, and Leo ran the line out in Leinster for years. They were coaching the players around them. That's who I kind of learned off when I was playing. So it was just kind of natural that they kind of got into it. As I said, not every player has that, and whether I do have that, I don't know. You know, so it's not something that I see myself doing.
Would your style of leadership on the pitch then be less verbal than what Leo's would have been and what Paul O'Connell's would have been?
I think so. Yeah, I would. My style of leadership really is kind of, I would lead the back around lineouts and around kind of strategy. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be a huge talker on the pitch. I would talk when I needed to. When it comes to a certain set piece, when it comes to a certain way of defending something. So again, I wouldn't talk a lot on the pitch, but I'd talk when I needed to.
Right. Okay. And just on the financial advice studies you're doing at the moment, how's that going? Are you close to being qualified?
Yeah, it's going really well. I've got 2 out of 6. So I did 2 in January. I've got another 2 in May, and then I'll do another 2 in September. So I'll be qualified then, hopefully, if I pass them all. So yeah, the study's going well.
And like it's because it's something that's been mentioned so much. Gordon Darcy in particular has spoken quite a bit about it, about just not having a life after rugby. You're not setting yourself up well enough. I presume this has been on the back of your mind for the last couple of years, the idea of a post-rugby actual career off the pitch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, as I said before, Rugby Players Ireland have done a phenomenal job of getting lads back to college, back to courses, back to work experience. Do you know what I mean? I think the onus is on the players to be able to go to them saying, okay, I want to try something here. I want to do a work experience here. But players are very cognizant of the fact that it can be a short career. They look at the likes of Dan Levy. They look at young lads, say the likes of, say, Luke Fitzgerald or Owen O'Malley, or who have had to finish young. People have seen these young lads and know that they have to keep going, you know, and do stuff in the background. Like, I think it's changed so much now than it was when I started. Like, the young lads coming in now all have degrees already, and they're all keeping going to college. They're all going to lectures all the time. Do you know what I mean? So they're all very much know that they need to keep going, something in the background anyway.
Yeah, and half of them are training to become doctors and achieve incredible things by the age of 25, 26.
I know, and Josh Murphy is a qualified doctor as well. Like, you know, so
yeah,
I don't know how they do it. It took me 8 years to get a sports management degree.
Just kind of to wrap up on that idea of those young players coming through. You've mentioned a few of them. They're obviously so impressive in every aspect of their life, but it does seem that the Leinster Academy in particular is just so well oiled at the moment. Some of the players that are coming through, just specifically in your position, Devin, what are you seeing coming through in the Leinster Academy? Because on a countrywide basis, there were just some questions asked about the physicality in the Irish pack and whether or not there are players coming through with a natural brute strength to actually compete with the likes of France, New Zealand, and South Africa. What's been your view of that?
Well, do you know, at the start of the year, I didn't know who Joe McCarthy was, but now everyone does. You know what I mean? He started a couple of games and he literally took his chance and he was ripping up trees in the games. Do you know what I mean? So if you look at the physicality that he brought to the games, he's got a really good carrying angle. He carries the ball really well. He's fit and he's aggressive. And I think, again, no one knew at the start of the year. So there's a couple of lads coming through. I think Brian Deeney he might be getting a shot over in South Africa as well. I think he's had his injury troubles, but I think he's come through and he's put on about 10 kilos in the last couple of months being injured. So I think he's obviously one to watch as well. But I wouldn't have any concerns about anyone coming through. Do you know what I mean? So because you have the likes of Joe coming through and lads like Brian who will take their chance, I think, when they get it. And then you've always got the James Ryans and the Ryan Bairds as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's I think we're in a good place anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And it like when it comes to that sort of physical element of things. And I mean, the natural physicality, like you're somebody who's beaten the All Blacks, you're somebody who's beaten the biggest teams in the world. I presume you don't think that that's ever something that's going to hold Ireland back, that there are other elements there that maybe would be the undoing of them in a World Cup, for example.
No, I don't think so. Like, I think it's not all about physicality. We bet them All Blacks teams, and we bet the kind of the South African teams, not with brute strength, with obviously with our game plan, and with good set piece, and with obviously footwork, and with our good fast backs. Do you know what I mean? So you can't beat a team solely on brute strength. You know, obviously it helps, but you need everything to win all them big games.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. You've been listening to Devin Toner over the last little while. Just a reminder that Just Eat, official food delivery partner of Leinster Rugby, is giving you the chance to decide Leinster's next big dish. You can vote for your favourite by ordering one of 3 signature dishes before May the 11th and be in with a chance to win €1,000 Just Eat credit and Leinster Rugby season tickets. For more information, visit just-eat.ie. So go on to justeat.ie for more information on that one. Devin Toner, great to chat to you. Thanks a million.
Thanks very much, Owen. All the best.
Cheers.